Hello everybody and welcome to a brand new Gentek PC product showcase. Today we're going to be doing a full review for the MSI GT72 with the desktop version of the NVIDIA GTX980 video card. So this is a super high-tiered laptop that's basically a desktop hybrid. Not only does it have the full-blown desktop video card inside, but it also has a fully unlocked CPU that can be overclocked. We'll still start things off with a basic manner with the unboxing to show you what you'll get with the laptop, and then we'll move more into our full review and of course all the performance benchmarks. So unboxing, we do have the double box procedure here. The outside box has the interior box for the laptop and its accessories, as well as it does include a full-size book bag to carry the laptop with. Now to continue with the unboxing, we'll go ahead and open up the interior box. There's actually a sleeve to take off first that contains all the artwork for the special edition, and then behind it we'll find the same artwork that was on the other GT72 models that we already reviewed. Okay, as we get the laptop box open, there's not a whole lot inside. We have a left side compartment that actually has the adapter cable for your Regions power, and also the laptop's power adapter. We'll go ahead and give you a close-up of that so you can look at the wattage. And then we have the entire center region being dedicated to the laptop. We'll just lift that up and we'll find underneath a bag that has all of our warranty information and driver's discs and a little gaming badge. With the laptop, we have the cardboard supports we took off, and then we have the plastic covering to keep it from getting scratched, and that's the first look at the laptop itself. Now with everything out of the box and the packing material removed, we'll throw it up on our display table and give you a quick tour of it. With the lid closed, here's a few turns so you can see all the different interfaces from a far angle and get a look at the dimensions of the laptop as well as its coloring. With the lid open, so between the keyboard and the screen you do have a nice cleaning cloth that you can keep, and that would be good in keeping the screen protected during shipping, but also really good to keep around for removing any smudges and fingerprints from the unit. You can see the lid is decorated with an engraved dragon as well as the palm rest area. So they've definitely gone and decorated up the special edition of the GT72 just a little bit more than the standard. The first thing we'll do before we go into the operating system is start off with the BIOS, just to show you some of the features you'll have here in the BIOS and also a glance at some of the hardware. You can see we have PCI Express SSDs, which are the latest and greatest technology right now. We have 4 memory modules, all 8 gigabytes each, so that's going to be 32 gigabytes of RAM. Over under the advanced section, this is where we can do some of our tweaking. Our RAID setup is available here. And just one more tab over, this is where we're going to find the overclocking tab. This is going to have a whole lot of options here for adjusting your CPU speed, your RAM speeds, your voltage. It's very equivalent to a desktop overclocking motherboard, so it's really nice to see this in a laptop. Okay, we're going to jump right to the device manager once we get inside the operating system and look at our hardware features here. We have killer for wired and wireless networking, the Intel i7-6820HK, which is the unlocked CPU, of course the desktop GTX980. Over here on the right we also have our monitor, which is showing a 75 Hz refresh rate. Here's the panel ID if you'd like to look that up. And this is a standard 1080p monitor, so 1920 by 1080p for the resolution. Here we have the CPU-Z information for the CPU, and next to it the GPU-Z information for the video card. If you'd like to pause the video and take a really good look at those, we have all those stats available for you. That is the 8GB GDDR5 version of the GTX980. Going back to our bird's eye view once again, now you can see just how different everything looks once you power it up. The laptop really does come to life because now the LED backlit keyboard with all of its various colors are shining through, as well as the backlighting around the touchpad area. We still have SteelSeries doing our keyboard, so of course we can tweak all of those colors inside of the software. We have Dynaudio taking care of our speaker system, and all of the nice artwork that comes with the Dragon edition. So all together, it comes together to look really nice. For the touchpad area, we do have the left and right click buttons being separated from the touchpad itself. So they're not combined together into a single rocker switch, and they're not part of the touchpad. So that makes them a little bit easier to operate. So now with the top taken care of, we'll go ahead and start covering all of the edges as far as connectivity and interfaces. Our front side doesn't have anything except for the openings there. We do have on the right hand side the optical drive, so we have our Blu-ray reader burner here. And that's followed by 2 USB 3.0 ports. Now getting around to the back side of the laptop, the first thing to do is get the right angle so you can see the artwork that's on the lid. So that's kind of engraved in there, so you have to see it with the right lighting. Down below it, we do have connections. We have our Kingston lock port on the far left, and then we have the exhaust fence with the cooling system. And then in the center, that's where we have the mini display port, the super port, HDMI, the RJ45 for networking, and of course the power connection for charging and running off of main power. And then we'll make it over to our left side. Here we have a huge assortment of USB ports. We actually have 4 USB 3.0 ports in a row. And then we have 4 gold-plated 3.5mm audio connections. So we have a line out, a line in, a microphone in, and a headphone out. So lots of connectivity options there. And the last thing we have is the SD card reader near the front. With the lid in a closed position, just a single spin around, just to show you exactly what the size and form factor looks like when it's in its closed travel position. Now we're going to start moving into our benchmark section, which of course is going to be very important for a high-end laptop like this one. But before we jump right into the game performance, we're actually going to start with our sound testing here. So we're just doing a noise level check to see how loud the cooling system is. Of course, as we usually mention, the best thing to do is to watch other reviews of similar laptops and just compare these numbers. That's the best way to know if one laptop's particularly louder than the others. These are always a worst case scenario type situation, so don't expect these kind of noise levels in an actual usage environment. Now we've got the system under load while we run one of the benchmarks. You can watch the noise levels do go up as the cooling system starts to have to run faster to keep up with the heat. We'll continue to let the performance benchmarks finish up as we start one of our other tests, which is going to be the temperature testing. So we have a wireless thermometer, and we're going to look at the heat coming from the cooling system. The high numbers here are actually good because that means the heat is leaving the system and it's not staying inside of it. And of course what you don't want to see is any kind of heat where your hands would be touching the laptop, such as the palm rest area, because that would obviously mean that you're going to get sweaty hands when you start using the laptop for extended periods of time. It is totally okay and actually normal to see different temperatures on the left and right side, and also different noise levels on the left and right side, simply because usually one side of the laptop has a fan primarily responsible for cooling the CPU, while the other side is primarily responsible for the GPU, and depending what kind of load you have on the laptop, those can run very different temperatures, and so one side of the laptop has to work harder to keep it cool. So far, all the temperatures are checking out really good, nothing hot where your hands would be, all the heat was leaving the laptop. We'll be able to verify that here in a minute when we see our temperature test from these benchmarks. So moving in to take a look at the results for Firestrike, we have 11,077 for the result score. Again, a quick look at the CPU-Z and GPU-Z information, so you can see that we ran this under the stock settings right now. And of course, we can make this a much higher score once we go overclock. Other than the performance score, we want to know our temperatures. So on the left, here's our temperature log. About 60 degrees max on the CPU, and the full-size desktop GTX980 was about 78 degrees Celsius. So that's a really exceedingly good score on the CPU and average on the GPU. Alright, so now it's time to show off one of the best features about the GT72 Dragon Edition. Other than the killer hardware already inside of it is the ability to go and overclock it. So we're basically increasing the value of what we already have. It looks like out of the box MSI says 37X, which is 3.7 gigahertz, is easy to do. Anything past that might be a little bit of a gamble. Also, real quick before we go redo the Firestrike benchmark, here's a quick shot at the SSD benchmarks. So we're using Crystal Disk Mark to get our read and write speeds. Keep in mind that not only can you overclock from the BIOS, but you can get software overclocking for your video card. MSI Afterburner lets you do that. Our CPU is verified at 4 gigahertz right now, and we're going to go ahead and take a look at our Firestrike score. So with that CPU boosted, we got 12,238 now on the score, so that's a pretty perceivable difference. Of course, the overclock is going to increase our temperatures. So now you can see the CPU went up to about 80 degrees Celsius when it was in the 60s before. With just the CPU overclocked, the video temperatures didn't actually go up any. We're still in the mid 80s for that. So with that quick overview on the performance done, that actually brings us to the end of our review on the GT72 Dragon Edition. This laptop definitely has a ton of potential and can be taken further than what we did here in the review, but we can only cover so much. If you'd like to learn more about the GT72 Dragon Edition, then visit our website gentechpc.com and look at the product page. We'll have the full system specs there, as well as the current pricing and availability. If you have any questions you'd like to ask here in the video, then feel free to ask and we can answer them for you and everybody else. If you need some one-on-one help, then feel free to contact us by phone or email, and we'll be happy to help you out. So once again, we just want to remind you this was Gentech PC, and we'll see you next time.